What's up, YouTube? This is James coming back at you with another informative video. I hope everybody's doing well out there on this Monday night. I'm doing real good myself. Shout out to the brother Jamal Bain for sending me this particular story right here. It's a very disappointing story. Okay, very disappointing. You know, and it's a story that makes me question: do these people actually, value the integrity of their predecessor, their loved one that suffered by the hands of the government in this Tuskegee syphilis experiment? Now, it goes on to say right here, family of Tuskegee Syphilis Study participants say they'll take COVID-19 vaccine but understand the duress. Do you really understand the duress? You will, after knowing what your family member went through by the hands of the government, the suffering, you will have the gall to come along decades later and say, cast that all aside and say that you would take a vaccine from the government, that you don't even know what's even present in that vaccine. You see, I have to actually question your loyalty as a family member and the integrity that you have, as a family member to your loved one. This is ridiculous, man. This is crazy. But let's get into this story right here. Lily Tyson Head and her daughter Carmen Head Thornton have reason to be skeptical about COVID-19 vaccine. After all, it was Head's father, Freddie Lee Tyson, who was unknowingly recruited into the now infamous syphilis study at Tuskegee. A sharecropper in Alabama in 1932, Tyson was one of 623 black men recruited for the U.S. Public Health Study at the Tuskegee Institute. The study was meant to record the natural progression of syphilis infection in black men, but the researchers didn't tell those who signed on. Tyson, who had congenital syphilis, was only told he'd be receiving free health care. So this man was lied to, just like the rest of them. And when all along they were using them as guinea pigs. Guinea pigs. You see? Wow, this is just so ugly, man. And that's all for the more reason why I do not trust the government, because they're big fucking liars. They are. And that's just all there is to it. But to continue here, they did not tell them they had syphilis. And the only thing they told them was that they had bad blood and they were treating the bad blood. Head told Nightline co-anchor Brian Pitts. But they were not. They were lying to the people about that. They were deceiving them. The experiment lasted 40 years. During that time, the American government made efforts to ensure the participants in the study never knew the true intentions of the researchers. Even when they discovered penicillin was a reliable treatment for the infection, the participants were actively kept from receiving it. Do y'all see how fucking evil? You see how evil? That's just downright fucking evil that they would do this. Inject this shit in these men and then keep a treatment for 40 years. And then what really is worse is to have the family come along and say that they would take the vaccine, decades later. Let me continue. Wow. Thornton says she was only a child when her grandfather answered the call from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to tell him what had really happened. Head said her father was a gentle, kind, and wise man, but that call made him upset and disappointed. Of course it would have, to be treated like that. Some fucking lab rat or something, But I digress. Let me go on. My father was a proud man and was honest. Head said, for someone to call and tell him that he had been part of something for 40 years and had never been told the truth and was not aware of it then that would also bring some shame. And you also have to understand that syphilis wasn't something that people were proud of having. Although Tyson died in 1988, Head and Thornton have been carrying on his legacy in hopes that something like the experiment never happens again. Oh, yeah, let me add this. By telling people that you would take the COVID-19 vaccine. Man, how these people sound? Woo, let me hurry up and get through this right here. Goes on to say, though, in memory of the men who unknowingly contributed their bodies to the study, they started the Voices for Our Father's Legacy Foundation, which aims to change the narrative surrounding the experiment and its participants and connect their descendants across the generations. All right. And I guess this is Carmen right here, the daughter of Lily Tyson. All right. Wow. Goes on to say here, this is a desire and need for us. Well, excuse me. Let me re-say that. There is a desire and need for us through our foundation and through my professional work to want to move this story of the syphilis study to one that speaks towards being a victim to being a victor, for moving from trauma to triumph, said Thornton, who works as the director of research grants, workforce and development at the National Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry. Both women say they understand why there is skepticism among Black Americans to take the COVID-19 vaccine. Although 27% of the public say they probably or definitely would not get vaccinated, 35% of Black adults say the same, despite being disproportionately affected by the virus, according to a survey by the Kaiser Family Foundation. History has not been kind to African Americans, Thornton said. It has not been kind, and because of misperceptions that are connected to what happened in the study. I think it helps to grow mistrust, and that's one of the things that we deal with. Oh, man, yeah, you'll never, look at this shit right here. Never trust this right here. Don't never trust nothing like this, man. You know, and people start, they have them, trick them into going into this shit right here. And I know they had to be thinking, well, I wasn't feeling like this until I started doing this study. You see what I'm saying? These subhumans right here are evil. And that's because I'm not even going to call them people. You would devise a scheme to make somebody sick and never tell them why they sick, and knowing that you are at the head of the whole entire thing. You're a scumbag. All right? And that's just all there is to it. But to continue, among the misconceptions surrounding the syphilis experiment, Head said many people believe the participants in the study were injected with the virus. They were not, she said, but rather given blood tests frequently. I'm not even. See, it sound like to me that this Head Thornton, whatever her name is, the daughter, or the mother, I don't know, is caping for these low lives. All right, that's just the way I feel about it. These people were told that went through that whole entire experiment, when they start having symptoms that they hadn't felt before, that they had bad blood. So how the fuck could she turn around and say what she just said here? But to continue, Thornton said that to rebuild this trust, there needs to be more people of color in the medical field. Her mother said that while there are more people of color in these positions now, and that things have changed, things have gotten better, they could still improve more. I am committed to spending my life in public health and in working in the way that I do because we need that representation, Thornton said. That's the reason why the syphilis study happened to begin with, because there wasn't that representation. Wow. There wasn't those voices around the table. And so we really do need to have that representation engaged in science, engaged in research, and engaged in respectful health care. When asked if they take the COVID-19 vaccine themselves, they both said yes. Without hesitation, Head said, "As soon as the vaccine is available for me, I'm taking it." Woo-wee! Whoa, golly. Oh, man. In conclusion here, citing other health disparities prevalent within communities of color, had also implored people to take charge of their health. And that, I'm going to say how to take charge of your health. Don't trust these motherfuckers that just want to shove a needle in your arm telling you it's going to be all right. You have to learn from trial and error. We can see what happened to Head and her great grandfather, but I guess they don't give a fuck about that because they sellouts. You know what I'm talking about? See, they sellouts. These two people right here are sellouts, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, that's just the way I feel about it. Just say no to drugs when it comes to this. Okay, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now, in conclusion, and I'm glad to be coming up on the end of this shit because I'm telling you, this really infuriates me. All right. This was a hard story to read. See, I want people of color to be able to look at situations, especially when it comes to protecting their health, and do their due diligence in finding out the necessary information so that they can make the right decisions and not be afraid, she said. We have to step forward and not be afraid to make our lives better. And trust in the white people, the ones who, these are with the same mindset, mind you, that they had back in 1932 when they injected those 623 men with syphilis. You talking about, woo-wee. See, we ain't gonna never get anywhere as a people as long as we got folks like this right here among us as a race. Caping for shit like this right here. This putting the needle in a black man's arm. And this right here. Now, more than likely, in my opinion, these two women was paid off. I'm gonna just say that for them to even get on here and just disregard what their grandfather did, great grandfather, whoever he was to him, whatever he went through, they had to be paid off. Freddie Lee Tyson, if he wasn't on the other side and actually in his grave, he'd be tossing and turning right now behind this shit. I'm gonna just tell you that. That's just the way I think about it. Y'all tell me what y'all think about this story right here. I'm interested in hearing your thoughts, your views, and opinions on it. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. People, please remember to live your life as though we are being watched, simply because we are. This is James, and I'm out. Peace.